What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Try Time Podcast. I'm Matt, and you join me for another one of our greatest team episodes. This little mini-series has been going on, and this time you catch me doing my own club, Leeds. So, if you've not seen this before, the premise of this one is as follows. 1 to 13 with 4 bench players of the greatest players to play for a certain team in the Super League era. The bench is not necessarily functional, it will just be some players who were very unlucky to miss out on the main team. If you didn't catch last episode of the podcast, firstly, why not? Go check it out after this one. And secondly, we are hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and if we achieve that, one lucky subscriber will win a rugby league shirt for a team of their choice of the 2025 season kits. So get subscribed if you haven't already, and you might just smell of roses, specifically white roses in this video. And with that, I'm going to segue back into the Leeds team. So kicking off at fullback, and I've gone for Iestyn Harris, former club captain and the first captain in over a decade and of the Super League era to win a trophy with the 99 Challenge Cup. Scored nearly 1,500 points across his 97 to 2001, 140 games for the Rhinos, and it is fair to say that he was a great fullback for us, and yeah, there's not much more to say than that, really. There were certainly some other contenders for this one. Brent Webb comes to mind. Obviously, he got the nickname Superman for a very good reason. And of course, Zach Hardick, who did win the Man of Steel playing fullback in 2015. Both very worthy inclusions. However, yeah, for me, it had to be the former Great British and Welsh international. Moving on to the wing, and I've kind of flipped the sides over here, and I'm going to go for Ash Hanley. Now, of course, Hanley has predominantly played as a 5. I'm kind of shoehorning him in here. The Rhinos Academy product has played pretty much all his career at Leeds, barred a few games out on loan at Featherstone. 200 appearances, has been and gone, 120 tries for the club. And yeah, just a solid record, very good winger. England international, of course, scored a hat-trick on his full England debut. And Hanley has just established himself as one of the best wingers in the competition, particularly considering the numbers he has put up in what has at times been a very struggling Leeds side. He has ultimately won, a part of the treble-winning squad, the 2017 Grand Final, 2020 Challenge Cup Final. He has appeared in all of the games on the biggest stage, and that is a testament to the ability he has shown and the growth he has had since debuting back in 2014. On his inside centre is going to be another Rhinos Academy product, and another one who has won basically everything at the club, and that is Callum Watkins. The now Salford centre/second row was a mainstay at Leeds for a number of years since breaking through in the late 2000s. 130 tries and 259 appearances for Callum, who went from kind of being a bit part player to the first name on the team sheet and gaining the club captaincy in 2019, albeit after a bit of a bitter fallout with the pressure, the expectation, and ultimately the desire to go try his place in the NRL, making 8 appearances for Gold Coast. Watkins has shown his talents when back over in Super League, being a mainstay for Salford. While he's yet to win any of the trophies he got at Leeds, he's certainly not lost his spark, we will say. Joining him in the centres is another player from the early days of Super League with Leeds, and the former Sheffield man, Keith Senior. Senior was almost a guaranteed pick, really, in his 12 years at Leeds. 171 tries in 365 games, and a real legend of the club, not only for his on-field work but also the off-field post-retirement. It was an interesting decision to sign for Leeds on the final day of this regular season, debuting that day against London. But 18 tries in 2000s burst him onto the scene. An England international playing 10 times and 33 for Great Britain. Senior has won everything there is to win at Leeds. Winner of the Yorkshire War of the Roses series, and that was a thing. World Cup representative, Super League Grand Final winner, Challenge Cup winner, World Club Challenge winner. There's nothing really that Senior hasn't competed in and had success in. And with that in mind, it was obvious that he had to feature in this team. Another obvious pick on the wing was going to be number 5, and it's Ryan Hall. The now Super League top try scorer of all time has had 233 of the touchdowns while playing for Leeds, and just 330 games, which again, great try scoring record. He returns to Leeds, of course, next season, the club where he came through the academy and spent 11 years before departing in 2018. Again, treble-winning squad member. I don't need to list the honours that Ryan has won because it's a very long list and basically covers everything. Moving into the halves then, and it's going to be the man whose top try scorer record that Ryan has since overhauled, and that is Danny Maguire. Of his 276 Super League tries, 267 of them coming for Leeds, in just 426 appearances, which, whilst a hell of a lot for one club, is a great tries per game record. Maguire, certainly one of the fancier players in Leeds' golden generation, and spent a whopping 16 years at the Rhinos before ultimately departing to play out his final 2 years at Hull KR before retirement. Again, Maguire has won everything there is to win for Leeds. He's represented his country in both England and Great Britain, guys, and again, his honours list is just incredible. Super League 8 times, League Leaders Shield 3 times, 2 Challenge Cup and 3 World Club Challenge. It's perhaps no surprise that the now Castleford assistant coach and Leeds legend gets in this team. And of course, the man he spent all of that time partnering in the halves is the man who will very much partner him in the halves here, and that is the almost biblical state number 13 of Kevin Sinfield. Just shy of 4,000 career points for Leeds in the best part of nearly 20 years at the club. Sinfield, again, won everything there possibly is to win. He retired, of course, in 2015 on a high after winning the treble to go play for Yorkshire Carnegie Rugby Union, where, again, decent effort. Was an okay end to his year. He clearly wanted to go do it. He got that bit of knowledge at the game, which he then took into his coaching career, both at Leicester Tigers and England. Quite whether or not his son Jack will live up to his legacy is, well, considering how great Kevin's legacy is, perhaps unlikely. And yeah, Sinfield had to go in this. There was literally no doubts about that. Moving into the props, and again, it feels like I'm basically just reciting the treble team at this point, because I've gone for Kylie Luluai. Never the most prolific try scorer as a prop, which, let's face it, is not to be unexpected. Luluai made north of 250 appearances for Leeds. 6-time Super League winner. Again, 2 Challenge Cups, 2 World Club Challenges, 2 League Leaders. And, interestingly, father of a Burnley defender in Marley Luluai. So, they clearly have sporting genes in that family. Well, we knew that anyway with the relations Tommy and perhaps lesser extent McGrath both having a long career in Super League. So yeah, Kylie Luluai wears the number 8 in this fictional team. And then we get to some of the more controversial picks, because there are 3 names who come into mind for the hooking role, and I think one of them's a shoo-in. However, perhaps not where you'd necessarily think. So that leaves us with a choice of 2. Perhaps the best player to play the role for Leeds, albeit only for 3 seasons, is of course Danny Medeiros. Or there's the golden generation, solid Matt Diskin, who was a key part of Leeds winning, again, basically everything for a while. And in the end, I've gone for Medeiros, because despite only spending 3 years at the club, the impact he left is huge and is something that actually, even today, we look at hookers and think we've never had anyone like Medeiros, and that is testament to what he achieved. Again, multiple grand finals. We won the World Club Challenge in that time. His little whistle stop to Super League before going back to Newcastle was certainly successful. And they always say, don't regret it's over, just be glad that it's happened. And that was very much the case for Leeds fans with Medeiros. And they can imagine it one last time in here. The second prop, again, this is quite an obvious one really, is Jamie Peacock. Need I say any more? Potentially the most successful prop of the Super League era. The 2003 Man of Steel winner across Leeds and Bradford, winning 9 Super League titles. And that, I think, says everything you need to know. Randomly, has an autobiography, got an MBE, all whilst playing for Leeds, of course, which, doesn't have any impact on his rugby career, but it certainly says a lot about his contribution to the sport. 289 appearances for Leeds, 21 for England, 26 for Great Britain. We all know Jamie Peacock's talents and why they are worthy of a spot on this list. Again, the golden generation continues with the number 11, and that is, of course, another MBE, another Rhinos Academy product. It's Jamie Jones-Buchanan. And let's face it, the man achieved far more success in the world of rugby than his half-brother Jody Broughton. 420 times he stepped out in the blue and amber, 78 tries, and, well, to cap his career off, a conversion. The former England and Great Britain international, again, spending 20 years with the club between 1999 and 2019, and we all know what Leeds won in that time. So, again, I won't reel absolutely everything off for you, because let's face it, you are fed up of hearing that right now. Joining him in the second row, we've got another overseas player, and that is Ali Lawatiti. The former New Zealand Warrior made 200 appearances for Leeds and put 64 tries in that time. And to be quite honest, considering the scoring rate of most second rows in rugby league, that is a fantastic return. He did leave for 2012 season to go to Wakefield, and that was a move that left a sour taste in the fans for Leeds. Not because he'd gone to a local club, but more that it had got to a state where, he was allowed to leave. Considering, we don't know what went on, but when your final game for a club is a grand final victory over St Helens, it's clear you've still got something to offer. And whilst only a friendly rather than a proper sanctioned match, the warm-up to the World Cup where Leeds took part in their traditional game against New Zealand, it was something special for the Rhinos fans that they got to see Lawatiti in blue and amber for one final time. He ultimately retired back at his hometown club of New Zealand, playing in their second-tier team. And, yeah, again, the former New Zealand international is a player that, for Leeds fans, we're just glad it happened and we got to enjoy 7 seasons of him starting our second row. Going to 13 then, and this is a very tough position because by not utilising Sinfield here, there's not a real natural choice. Leeds' 13s over that era were a combination of second rowers. We had Cuthbertson for a while as almost a third prop. So that left me with very little to work with. So in the end, I've gone for I think only the second player on this list that's still playing for Leeds. I mean, third if we're counting Ryan Hall's return for next season. And that is Cam Smith, who, not helping my argument, is probably having one of the worst seasons of his career at this point. However, don't let that detract from what the 25-year-old has already achieved in his short time in the game. Over 100 appearances already for Leeds, and captaining at 25 is an achievement in itself. For Smith, he's played in a multiple of positions, frankly, now establishing at 13, but also spending time in the halves randomly. And whilst not necessarily having too much success at this stage, of course not making the team for the 2017 Grand Final and featuring in their defeat to St Helens in 2022, I think there's still a lot more to come from Cam Smith, and under the right coach, I think we can get more of his old form that had people saying why he should be on the periphery of the England squad. And hopefully this pick can prove me right, because right now this is probably the weakest position. And with that, I will quickly skim onto the bench, and whilst it's sad he will only wear 14, he will of course be given the de facto 7 shirt for this, and I have of course gone for Robbie. His place on the bench is not certainly down to talent, because he's probably the best to do it in that position. However, this comes from the impact he had coming off the bench as a player. The speed, the impact he had, and the way he could change a game on its head is ultimately why we had to play to his strengths. And the 8-time Super League winner, who spent his entire 16-year career at Leeds making just shy of 500 appearances, provides this injection of pace, this unpredictability, this real talent that this fictional side needs to be even better. And yeah, Robbie was never going to miss out somewhere, was he? Joining me on the bench is Leeds stalwart Carl Ablett, who, to a second row and centre, was a very dependable player for 15 seasons, making 320 appearances for the Rhinos. And again, he was just Mr. Dependable, who was incredibly missed when he did leave the club. A popular player who was often the unsung hero of some of Leeds' biggest games over that generation. And it's only fair that Ablett gets the recognition he deserves here and a spot in the team. Going on from ex-players to now current pundits, and again, he was probably unlucky not to get in at prop, frankly, but Barry McDermott has to be in the team somewhere. The Oldham-born former Wigan prop established himself as one of the greats of Super League at Leeds, with 283 appearances for the Rhinos and, of course, winning Grand Finals and Challenge Cups with them. McDermott is probably summed up best by the chant the Rhinos fans affectionately gave him of "Barry's going to get you," and that is certainly what the opposition players had to deal with. And boy, was he a tough ass to deal with. McDermott, shoo-in, another one that was just obvious before we started this. So that is one position left, which I've got a tough job to fill. And again, I've thrown it back to the mid-2000s for this one, with a man who featured 123 times for the club before ultimately departing to go try his crack in the NRL, where with 4 seasons under his belt there at Wests, I would argue he succeeded alongside de facto countryman Chris Hyington. I've of course gone for Gareth Ellis. Ellis was a fantastic player in his career at Wakefield, first of all before joining Leeds, and instantly made an impact coming into the team, winning the World Club Challenge as in one of his first games against Canterbury, frankly. And, you know, he featured in the Challenge Cup final that year, losing to future club Hull FC, the Grand Final runners-up medal a year later, before finally winning on the grandest stage in 2007. At Wests, 4 years there, and a desire to change his lifestyle meant that he went down under and again succeeded in his time there before coming back to Super League to Hull. He captained the club to 2 Challenge Cup success in the Super League semi-final and made a comeback, not once, not twice, but twice out of retirement to feature for Hull and help them through the tough patch. And even at his very last game, when he played at 39, nearly 40, he could still hang with the kids, a testament to his fitness. And that is my ultimate 17 for Leeds. Let me know what position you disagree with. We will be doing St Helens next time in a couple of weeks. And don't forget to subscribe and you might be lucky. That's all for this time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.